Welcome back, everyone, to the epic thought of the day. Today we're on January 6th, and the thought of the day is available in the link as well, in the link description. And some people call this thought of the day one of the most important ones, so I wanted to give my interpretation of it as of January 6th, 2022. I'll read it out. The thought of the day. We have the thought of the day, we have the meditation of the day, and we have the prayer for the day. I'm reading from the Hazelden Betty Ford thought of the day, 24 hours a day book. It's this one right here, just in case anybody's curious and they want to get a copy of that. So it goes, AA thought of the day. Keeping sober is the most important thing in my life. The most important decision I've ever made was the decision to give up drinking. Am I convinced that my whole life depends not taking that first drink? Nothing in the world is as important to me as my own sobriety. Everything that I have, my whole life, depends on that one thing. And the question is, can I afford ever to forget this, even for 1 minute? Alright, the meditation of the day, it says, I will discipline myself. I will do this disciplining now. I will turn out all useless thoughts. I know that the goodness of my life is necessary foundation for its usefulness. I will welcome this training, for without it, God cannot give me His power. I believe that this power is a mighty power when it's used in the right way. The prayer for the day says, I pray that I may face and accept whatever discipline is necessary. I pray that I may be fit to receive God's power in my life. Alright, so I will break it down piece by piece. Again, when I speak about my higher power, it is my higher power. It is not your higher power. You can have whatever higher power you want. That's the great thing about this program. We do not discriminate on what you believe. And what I talk about is my experience with this program in my sobriety. And this is what I share with you guys. Everybody has a different story. It's something that we say in the meetings. It goes, look for the similarities, not the differences. All right, so I just want to clearly state that out for everyone. And I do not represent AA as a whole. This is just independently done by me, and I am just one of the many of the millions of members in this great program. So can I afford ever to forget this, even for 1 minute? All right, the reason that I make meetings every day, and the best thing about it right now is that it's easy to make meetings every day. You got Zoom meetings, you have phone meetings. The AA is the biggest one to find meetings. Like for other programs such as NA, Marijuana Anonymous, and other things like that, there's pretty much a 12-step for everything. But as far as physical meetings, you can go if you live in a city like me in Chicago, you can look it up. There's an app called Meeting Guide where you can get it for your phone. It's great. You find meetings everywhere on Zoom, all over, wherever you're at. You can always find a meeting. And so, like for example, today I wasn't able to make a physical meeting, but I made a Zoom meeting. And the reasons I make meetings every day is just so I don't forget that this disease doesn't go away. I need to take my medicine every day. You might have heard me say it the other day that it's like having diabetes. Once you have it, and you just have to take your medicine if you want to live. And everything good that I have in my life today is because my higher power, which I call the Lord, has sent me this way, to get sober. I was praying before. I would be praying for God to help me stay sober, like to help me, because I knew I was dying. And my prayers got answered in one way I ended up here. And so what good is it to have money or success or anything in your life? You might watch motivational videos, and it pumps me up. I watch them all the time. But what good is it to have all these things if I'm killing myself? You know, it's not worth a dime. You know, I believe that you put someone like let's say Steve Jobs. You know, he would have. I believe that anybody in that position would trade a lot of their fortunes, if not all of it, for a couple more days. You know, it's really that important. None of us are guaranteed to stay sober. This is the main thing. I think what it's talking about. None of us are guaranteed to stay sober. We can all throw it away if we make a bad decision. People who say slips. You might hear this. We have different breakdowns. So SLIPS or SILP. Sobriety loses its priority. Slip. We have slips in the program where we put other things in front of our sobriety. And my sponsor says he doesn't believe in I had a slip. He believes in I made a choice. We all have, and when you're starting off, you know, trying to stay sober, it's hard to. My mind is programmed to just make the choice of pick up, drink, pick up, smoke weed, pick up. That's the only thing I know. But as I sober up, and you know, not sober up, as I get more days under my belt, I'm able to start making decisions. You know, I'm starting to detox, and then after the detox process, after working the steps, I'm able to know that I have a choice, and it's a series of decisions or choices that gets us to where we are and where we want to get to. So, you guys might hear this. Insanity is repeating the same thing over and over, expecting different results. If I keep doing the same things are going to keep happening to me, you know. So it's the decision. It's some people, like, it gets. I know for me, I was my last slip. Stopped going to meetings, and I was just like, okay, I'm at a ball game, and I was like, you know, it'd be nice to have a drink. I had 6 months sober. It's totally cool. I can have one, and then I'll just start all over again. See, it's that entertaining that thought, and now with the program, we learn how to think things through, and it's called playing the tape forward. I'm able to see, okay, well, it looks nice. It's like a commercial. It looks really nice, like for that Big Mac or whatever it is, or there's consequences involved, you know, with that as well. So learning about the consequences, I'll get to that in a second. And for me, I know it's life or death. If I use again, I am going to most likely pick up and drink myself to death, because that's where I was at before. And the decision I made to quit, for me, I'm in Marijuana Anonymous, and I am in Alcoholics Anonymous. And for me, I made the decision to quit smoking weed and drinking nearly 4 years ago. And I'm grateful that I made that decision, because I live a better life now. And in so many ways, I'm a reborn person. You know, it's every day. Is this going to last forever? It just depends on my decisions for today. And if I would have continued where I was making those decisions of using every day, I would have continued the death, you know, the sooner death by my own hands, you know, because I drank so much that I was developing gout. I drank so much that I was crashing cars, and I could have killed somebody else. There's many ways. There's many ways that I could have killed myself. Sorry for that. And so it's hard letting go of character defects. I think what it's really talking about in the meditation of the day is character defects. I'll get into that, but I wrote down a list of consequence. I call it a consequence list, and I tell my sponsees to write down 10 things, at least 10. If you could write down 20 things, then do 20 things. But of consequences of things that would happen to you if you use again. So for me, I would just say the gout, liver damage, the letting down my group. These are letting down my higher power, letting down myself. These are just quick things that I have to think about, and I have to think about these things and remember them every day. So this is where we talk about every minute. So every minute I need to think about these things, so that I know it's engraved in my heart, so I don't forget these things. It has to be done. So that's my interpretation of the thought of the day. For the meditation of the day, it really sucks. It talks about discipline. Okay, again, kind of similar, but in a different spectrum. It really sucks and hurts sometimes that I can't have things I want. And I bet you guys might feel the same way. Depriving myself for the betterment of myself is a tough challenge, but it's not in those moments that growth takes place. So let's think about for a second. You guys don't know I have a green screen behind here, but behind this green screen is a lot of sneakers. I collect sneakers and retro Jordan sneakers, and this is a character defect. Or eating sugar. I like a lot of sugar, and I know my father has diabetes, and it could affect my health. For those little short-term pleasures. And I want things that are not good for me. All right. And if something isn't beneficial for me, I have to learn to let it go. And I'm the one that's punishing myself by going for things that are not good for me. Depriving myself is where growth takes place. All right. If God removes something from me, it's for a reason, and I just have to accept it. That alone time with my thoughts is a gift, because I get to reflect on myself with myself, and then it's hard letting go of character defects. But so this is really the meditation of the day focuses on steps 6 and 7 for me. 6 and 7 is being ready to have God remove these character defects and asking God to remove these character defects. So do I, like, for example, social media was one of my character defects, and drinking and smoking weed was one of my character defects. So I thought that as long as I quit those two things, my life would be great. No, this is just the main things. I always say it's like if you got shot in 3 different places, and one of them being close to your heart, the other one your arm and your toe, to say, right? The one you'd have to attend to first is the heart. That's the big one, and then comes your limbs. So I have other wounds or character defects that I need to have God remove. As far as going to meetings, yeah, they help, but God is the only one for me that helps me, that desire, that impulse release itself. So there's a saying, closed mouths don't get fed. So if I'm not asking, I'm not receiving. And there's a difference between asking and begging. So it just depends how bad I want it to be removed. And there's another saying that closed fists can't receive new gifts. So if I stay with these things in my hand, I can't grow with them. Steps 6 and 7 were the hardest for me, and still continue to be. So that's why I must continue to do steps 6 and 7 every day, because God has the power. He has the power to make me change. I don't have this power by myself. And throughout my almost 4-year journey, I can look back and say, hey, I'm not on social media so much anymore. It doesn't have that much control over me. And I know if I continue to ask and desperately ask, I'll have more of God's power to help me change that. So sometimes growth requires pain, and I just pray that God can be patient with me, because the pain that, if I can't learn, for example, to cut down my sugar intake, I can have diabetes, and that's going to be very painful, and it's nothing to play with. And it almost has to do with the thought of the day, if I can connect them, because the thought of the day is talking about remembering the pain. So there's two ways people learn, or generally. One way is watching somebody else make a mistake, and you say, I ain't going to go that way. And the other one is you making the mistake, and you keep making the mistake until the pain is unbearable. And then sometimes we don't even learn. So as far as the prayer for the day, I pray that God can mentally and spiritually prepare myself for whatever depriving punishment I need to go through to prepare myself to grow. So sometimes I'm going to need those beatdowns to become a better person. So I'm going to continue growing as long as I continue to be ready for the growth pains that have to take place. So that is my interpretation for the thought of the day for January 6th. And thank you everyone for watching, and continue. Hopefully you can subscribe, like the video, and consider joining the Patreon to help support further videos. Thank you so much. Everybody have a blessed day.